Hello everyone, welcome back to another banner reaction. I'm DTM as always, and we have with us the Legendary Hero banner trailer for August. And yeah, this is right after CYL, so I don't expect there to be like that much popular heroes to be here, to be perfectly honest, because generally like this slot is more on the weaker side in terms of sales. So I'm expecting like I have to sacrifice someone like maybe Male Shez or something like that. But yeah, nothing else to do but to get on our way. As always, if you like the content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to help support the channel. It only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but truly just help this channel on. And I really do appreciate all the constant support. Alright, who's it going to be? Okay, it is actually Shez, I think. Yep. Alright, this was kind of obvious, honestly. But as soon as the music showed, I knew. Win Legendary Defense, Red Dagger. Seems to have like some sort of ally warping thing. Pulse Smog? Is that like Scowl for infantry? I think so. I assume the teleportation is similar to some mechanic in the Three Hopes. It reminds me of something like that, but I can't exactly remember. It's been so long.
Not enough training.
Okay. Yeah, there seems to be some sort of warping to allies.
I must prevail. Too bad for you.
Okay. That seems to be it. Let's see who's sharing. Ooh. Okay. Wait, who is sharing? Okay, Emblem Ike is sharing. That's a pretty good share, I guess. Fallen Lumera is a bit meh. If it wasn't for Fallen Lumera, that would have actually been a really nice share with Emblem Ike. But yeah, unfortunately it doesn't seem... Fallen Lumera kind of ruins it, honestly. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what the warping is. And so, yeah, nothing else to do but to take a look at these skills. And yeah, honestly, a lot of people I was talking about were expecting Legendary Male Shez. Seemed about the time. It basically seems like a red version of his female counterpart, except with the warping. So I'm very curious to see how that exactly works. So yeah.
Very well.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the skills. Starting with Duel Sword, we have Accelerate Special Trigger, unit attacks twice, and that includes during the enemy phase. Inflicts penalty on all stats for foes within 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit during combat, equal to 4 plus the number of combat instances on current turn times 4. Max 12. Include combat instances unit does not participate in. Battles on player phase and on enemy phase are counted separately. Does not include this current combat. So this is similar to like Blade Session in a way, except like instead of counting the number of number of like allies that have quote unquote ended turn, this is literally just counting the number of combats that has happened, basically. And the more combats you have, the greater this is. Max 12, of course. So I don't know if that's a cap to the total or just to like the number of combat instances during current turn times 4. So you can think of this as like a minus 12, I think, debuff to all stats. Kind of interesting that they did it this way because we've gotten a lot more consistent stat buffing in weapons, but that's cool. That's pretty cool. Again, this is similar to Blade Session in that like you get more powerful the more quote unquote combats you get. It does make it so that like you can't really initiate turn 1 in order to get the full effect, but I'm sure you can play around that. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 20%, grants bonus to units all stats equals to 5 plus the number of foes within 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit times 3. Max 14. Reduces damage from foes' first attack by 30%. This includes Braves. And neutralizes effects like... okay, so you have full tempo, essentially. And, of course, the dagger effect. Okay, so this is where we get the actual stat buffs. Because the second paragraph, that is basically like a drive, effectively, in that it supports not only Shez, but also the allies against enemies within 3 rows or 3 columns of him. And then for here, you get like a bunch of stats, max 14. You get the Brave, you get the full tempo. Okay, that's cool and all. But like, we're here for the warping. Like, I guess the warping is in the B, Shadow Slide. I remember that skill in Three Hopes. I guess that's where it comes from, where you like close in. I guess this is something similar. So yeah, unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any ally that has entered combat during the current turn. Unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any ally within 2 spaces. If ally has entered combat during the current turn, unit can move through foe spaces. Okay, I think I see this. Okay, so this has 3 parts to it. First of all, if your ally has entered into any combat, you can immediately warp within 2 spaces of that. So you can't really use this to initiate, but you can use this to follow up, which is really, really nice. The second portion of this is basically just like aerial maneuvers, essentially, but on Shez, on a ranged unit. It basically makes all of the allies for Shez act like Ash, only for Shez, of course. And so Shez can have that warping, similar to like Brave Edelgard, but with 2 spaces instead of just 1. And so like, even if you don't have any of your allies entered into combat, you still get that warping as long as they're within 2 spaces of you. Obviously, if they're beyond that, then you can't really do anything. And then if an ally has entered combat, then you get pass, essentially. That is what I'm reading here. And yeah, so that's the first paragraph. If unit is within 3 spaces of ally, inflicts all attack speed defense -5 on foe, deals damage equals to 20% of unit speed, excluding AoEs, reduces the percentage of foe's non-special, reduces damage by X%, skills by 50%, excluding AoEs, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 7 during combat, and that includes Braves. Okay, so here we get like the damage reduction having the flat 7 damage reduction for the first hits, which includes Braves, and then some stat debuffs. Okay. All right, so like, I think this is pretty neat. I don't know how good this is going to be, because like, obviously the fact that you can warp within 2 spaces of an ally within 2 spaces of you in any scenario is really, really nice. Basically makes everybody into a guidance beacon for Shez. But I was really, really interested in like the far away warping, but that will only happen if that ally entered into combat. So for something like Summoner's Duels, I think it will be very interesting, because what you can do is you can have your ally engage, and that makes it interesting with trading. And it makes like engaging with Shez, say if Shez is in the backline, a lot easier. to be able to continue that trade. So the enemy is forced to deal with that ally that entered. And there's definitely some cool follow-ups there. The fact that he can't do that to initiate is a bit of a shame, but I think regardless, it's still pretty good. I'm just worried about his combat. That's the thing. He does have some really nice support with the penalties, counting the amount of allies that have entered into combat. And so as that gets higher, you get more and more debuffs in combat on the foe within 3 columns and 3 rows, of course. And that can definitely help. I'm just interested in like what his own combat will be. He does have Brave, he does have True Damage, he does have DR Halving, so I think it will be decent at the very least. But yeah, it's interesting, I guess. We'll have to like test this out to see how good his combat is, because like we've had a lot of warping units before, like Celica with Celica Ring. So I don't know how impactful he will actually be in something like Summoner's Duels. In Arena, I can see this being very useful because, like, in Arena, you don't have a lot of mobility options, so Shez will just be really good for that. But yeah. Anyways, what does Pulse Smog do? Inflict speed defense -3 on foe, and inflict special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat. Only highest value applied does not stack. Okay, so you inflict guard here. After combat, it inflicts attack -7 and guard on target and foes within 3 spaces of target through their next actions, and inflict special cooldown count +1 on their foes. Okay, so that's Pulse Smoke. This is like Pulse Smoke essentially, but Pulse Smog. If unit initiates combat and foes attack, can trigger foe's special. Inflict special cooldown count +1 on foe before foe's first attack during combat. Okay, and then there is the basically the scowl effect. It doesn't work on defensive specials on the enemy. It only works on offensive specials, but this can definitely help units survive against units like Ike, for instance, unless he's like supported or anything. But yeah, the fact that this is Scowl, I feel like Brave Alphonse kind of just got... Okay, this doesn't work on like enemy phase, but like still, it makes countering Alphonse a lot easier because Alphonse really relies on that special. It'll deal with units like Winter Byleth, Ike, for instance. This is essentially like Hush Spectrum, but like more. And the thing is, like, Scowl stacks, right? So like the more Scowl you have, the better. And so you can combine this with like Hush Spectrum from like Dual Robin or just Brave Female Robin, and that is really, really good. Yeah, this, I feel like we're starting to enter into a Scowl stacking phase where we're just trying to stack either Hush Spectrum or Rally Spectrum, or like Scowl effects or special jump effects, because again, those don't stack. Those stack, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Unless they don't stack. Someone correct me if they do stack or not. I actually don't know. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting skill for sure. And it being on a skill makes it a lot more accessible. And so, yeah. Very interesting. I don't know if this will replace like Canto Control for infantry units, because Canto Control is just really, really important. I guess for units that can't run Canto Control, I guess what are the inheritance restrictions? Is this only for infantries or like only for daggers? I guess it will really depend on the inheritance restrictions for this, because we don't know about this. If it's only for infantries, then yeah, there's definitely some contest between the skills. Heck, even for flyers, there's contests between like snap and guidance and the like. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see the inheritance restrictions on that to really make a judgment. But it's interesting. It's interesting. So yeah, overall, I think Shez is an interesting unit. I want to see more from his combat in the actual game before I make a judgment on that. Because I do have some questions on that. I think the warping being tied to the allies make entering combat is interesting. I mean, this entire kit synergistically is about having your allies enter combat before you do, right? Because like that's how his weapon works, that's how Shadow Slide works. And so that is actually a very interesting design. And I'm very interested to see how that would work out in practice. But yeah.
Made your peace yet? Go ahead and try. Not enough training.
And yeah, you could see like the pulse smoke effect there, and applying the guard, of course.
I must prevail.
And yeah, you could see that happening, deactivating the special. I think that's how it will work. It's interesting that this is an offensive Scowl, but Scowl can be used offensively to help survive against retaliating specials, which is really nice. And yeah, let's take a look at the banner. So Shez is sharing with Ike, which is pretty good, but it's also sharing with Fallen Lumero, which is not exactly the best, although again, it is a rearm, so like if you have that as like a fodder factory, obviously that's really, really valuable. And Lumera herself does comes with some neat skills. And of course, Legu's friend is just really, really strong. So yeah, I guess that's a decent share. What does Blue have? Blue has Freyr, Nerthuz, and Ratatosker. I mean, we have an Wait, is Nerthuz light? I think Nerthuz is light. Or is Nerthuz? No, Nerthuz is light. Yeah. So we have a light and an Astromythic here on the blue share. So that's pretty cool. Although, again, Freyr kind of ruins that because you only need one defense mythic copy. Really, merges don't really that help. For green, we have Nurgle, who's a really, really good unit. Legendary Female Alir, which I personally really like, and Legendary Male Robin. That's Earth and Fire sharing, so that's potentially good if you're looking for an Arena Core. And then for colorless, we have Arvel, Arlen, and Yukimura. Okay, that one's trash. Like, don't even go for that. But yeah. Honestly, I think this is mainly a skip banner, if I'm going to be honest. Like, Ike for Legu's friend on red, plus Shez, I think will be a decent share, but the banner overall, I'm not really feeling it. And personally, for me, I'm definitely going to be skipping this. Like, I don't think Shez is a must summon, especially since like a lot of the things you would like to do with Shez, like you can emulate with like either Emblem Celica or the Celica ring. It's not exactly the same because, like, again, Shez can just like warp in within any two spaces, whereas Celica ring, it's only to the closest ones within 5. But yeah, I think Shez is going to be neat. I don't think it's a must summon. Again, this is like just first impression, so take this with a grain of salt. Once we get him in the game, it could turn out that his combat is extremely cracked, and therefore he becomes that. But yeah, this is just my initial first impressions. I'll need to wait and investigate how he does in the game to fully analyze him. But yeah, that's just my initial thoughts. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on Legendary Male Shez. Yeah, very, very interesting unit. I'm excited to see what he can do. And yeah, if you did enjoy this, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to support the channel. Only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but it truly does help us channel a lot. I really do appreciate all kind of support. And yeah, again, let me know what your thoughts are on Shez, whether or not you're going to be summoning. And hope you all have an amazing rest of the day. And see you all next time. Bye, everyone.